Your dog has been talking to you every single day. Not barking, not whining, not any of the obvious things you already know to respond to. Talking in a language that is specific, consistent, and remarkably expressive. Built from body position, eye movement, ear placement, breathing pattern, tail mechanics, and a dozen other signals that most owners walk past without registering. And here is what makes this worth your full attention. Your dog is not talking casually. Every signal they send has a meaning they intend for you to receive. When you miss it, when you look past it, or misread it, or dismiss it as random, your dog does not conclude that you are busy. They conclude that their communication did not work. And a dog that has learned their signals do not reach you is a dog that has lost something important in their relationship. The confidence that they can be understood by the one person their entire world is organized around. Today we are going through 7 of the most common and most consistently ignored signals your dog sends, what each one actually means, and what responding to them correctly does for the bond between you. The slow blink cats get credit for this one, but dogs do it too. And in dogs, it carries significant meaning that almost no owner knows to look for. When your dog looks at you and blinks slowly, not a normal rapid blink, but a deliberate, heavy-lidded, unhurried closure and reopening of the eyes, they are communicating something specific. In canine body language, prolonged or intense eye contact is a threat or challenge signal. The slow blink is its deliberate opposite. It is the active softening of the gaze, a signal of trust, of ease, of non-threat, directed specifically at you. Your dog, slow blinking at you, is saying, I am completely at ease in your presence. You are not a threat to me. I am so safe here that I am willing to close my eyes in front of you. The response that lands most deeply is to slow blink back, deliberately, softly, holding the same quality of relaxed eye contact. You are speaking their language back at them, and the dog that receives that response, that watches their signal get reflected back in kind, has just had their communication received completely. That matters to them more than most owners realize. The weight. Lean your dog. Presses their body against your leg, not brushing past, not sitting near you. A sustained, deliberate transfer of weight, their side or flank against you, staying there, not moving. Most owners accept this passively. They feel the warmth of it. Maybe reach down and scratch the dog briefly and go back to what they were doing. The lean gets received as background contact rather than as the specific communication it is. The lean is one of the most direct expressions of trust and attachment in the canine vocabulary. It requires the dog to shift their center of balance onto you, to become physically dependent on your stability in that moment. That is not a casual gesture. That is a dog choosing deliberately to make themselves structurally reliant on you. It also has a self-soothing dimension. The deep pressure of sustained body contact activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the same physiological mechanism behind weighted blankets in humans with anxiety. Your dog is not just expressing closeness. They are regulating themselves through you. What they need from you when they lean is not complicated. Stop what you are doing for a moment. Put a hand on them. Be actually present for the 10 seconds they are asking for. The lean is not background noise. It is a direct bid for connection. Meet it as one. The yawn. Intense moments. You raise your voice. There is conflict in the household. A guest arrives who makes the atmosphere feel different, and your dog yawns, wide, deliberate, right in the middle of the tension. And you think, how are they tired right now of all times? They are not tired. The yawn in a tense moment is one of the most important calming signals in canine communication, a concept documented extensively by Norwegian behaviorist Turid Rugas. Dogs use deliberate yawning to communicate non-threat in socially charged situations, to attempt de-escalation of tension they are sensing in the environment, and to regulate their own arousal when their nervous system is becoming overwhelmed. Your dog yawning during an argument is not indifferent to what is happening. They are acutely aware of it, and they are doing the only thing available to them to try to bring the emotional temperature down. What they need from you in that moment is acknowledgement, not a prolonged interaction, just a brief softening. Lower your voice, slow your breathing, make brief, gentle eye contact with them. You are telling them, I received your signal. I am working on it. You do not have to manage this alone. The pointed look. Your dog looks at you and then looks deliberately at something else. A door, their leash, their water bowl, a spot on the floor, and then looks back at you. Sometimes they repeat the sequence. Look at you. Look at the thing. Look back at you. This is referential signaling, and it is one of the most cognitively sophisticated communication behaviors a dog produces. Research from the University of Lincoln confirmed that dogs use gaze alternation, shifting their eyes deliberately between a human and an object or location, as a specific communicative tool. They are not looking around randomly. They are directing your attention. They have something they want you to notice, and they have learned that alternating their gaze between you and the thing is the most reliable way to get you to follow their eyes. This is the same cognitive foundation as pointing in human children. The dog cannot extend a finger, so they use their gaze as the pointer. What they are communicating depends on the object. The leash means they want to walk. The door means they need outside. The water bowl means it is empty. The spot on the floor sometimes means something happened there that they want you to know about. The response they need is simple. Follow their gaze. Investigate what they are pointing at. And when you get it right, when you look where they looked and respond to what they were indicating, the dog's reaction tells you everything. The relief and satisfaction of being understood is written all over them. The exposed belly in quiet moments. There are two types of belly exposure, and they mean completely different things. Most owners treat them identically and miss the distinction entirely. The first is active and performative. The dog rolls, wiggles, makes eye contact, paws at you. The body language says, I know what I want and I am asking for it. This is a solicitation. They want belly rubs and they are requesting them directly. The second is quiet and unprompted. The dog rolls onto their back or their side in your presence without any solicitation behavior. No wiggling, no pawing, no expectant eye contact. They simply expose their most vulnerable surface, the belly, the chest, the throat, in your vicinity without asking for anything in return. The second type is a trust declaration. The ventral surface is the most physiologically vulnerable part of any mammal's body. Exposing it without solicitation in a quiet moment to a specific person, that is not a request. That is a statement. I am completely safe with you. I do not need to protect myself here. You are the reason this is possible. Dogs do not do this around people they are uncertain about. They do not do it freely around strangers or even familiar people they do not deeply trust. When your dog does it near you in a quiet moment, receive it for what it is. The highest trust signal in their physical vocabulary, offered without agenda. The nudge, the nose nudge, the paw placed on your arm or your leg, the head pushed under your hand. These are among the most frequently ignored signals in the dog-owner relationship, not because owners dislike them. Most find them endearing, but because they receive them as cute rather than as specific communication with content worth reading. The nudge is a direct bid for engagement, not general attention, specific engagement with you now in this moment. Something in the dog's internal state has reached a threshold that requires external connection to regulate. They are not being demanding. They are communicating a need in the most direct physical way available to them. What that need is varies. Sometimes it is anxiety looking for reassurance. Sometimes it is the natural seeking of contact that comes from a deeply bonded animal who has been near you without real connection for a while. Sometimes it is the dog checking in, a kind of punctuation mark in the ongoing conversation of shared space that says, we are still good, right? You are still here? The response that serves them is presence, not a reflexive pat that resumes the distraction, a genuine moment of contact, eye contact, their name, real touch, before returning to what you were doing. The nudge is asking to be met. Meet it. The settling sigh. Your dog lies down near you at the end of the day and exhales, long, slow, audible. A sigh that carries a quality you can feel from across the room. Most owners hear it and do not register it consciously, but it deserves to be heard, because that sigh is the sound of safety completing. The nervous system exhaling the vigilance it has been carrying all day. Your dog arriving at the place where they feel most at ease in the world, which is wherever you are. You do not need to respond with action. What it asks for is simply this. Be the person who keeps showing up in a way that makes that sound possible. 7 signals, all of them happening constantly, all of them carrying more than most owners ever stop to read. Drop a comment. I read every single one. Subscribe. New video every week. See you next time.